Et tu, Brute, history's most famous last words, spoken by the most powerful man in the ancient world, to his closest friend, as 23 daggers found their mark. Except, he never said it. Shakespeare invented that line in 1599, over 1600 years after Caesar died. The real story of why Julius Caesar was assassinated is far more complicated, far more human, and far more tragic than anything you learned in school. Julius Caesar was not supposed to be where he was. Born into a family of minor Roman nobility in 100 BC, his family had status, but not power. What Caesar had was something rarer: ambition without a ceiling. By his 40s, he had conquered Gaul, modern-day France, in a brutal 8-year campaign that killed over 1 million people and enslaved another million. He built a personal army of battle-hardened veterans who were loyal to him, not to Rome. He built a personal fortune that made him the wealthiest man in the Republic, and he built a political following among the common people of Rome that terrified the Senate. In 49 BC, the Senate ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. He would face prosecution the moment he crossed back without his legions protecting him. Caesar crossed the Rubicon River with his army instead. It was an act of war against his own country. Civil war followed. Caesar won, and in 44 BC, the Roman Senate, with no other options left, made Julius Caesar dictator for life. Dictator for life. To modern ears, that sounds like the end of the story. To Romans, it was the beginning of a crisis. Rome had not had a king in 465 years. The founding of the Republic, the moment Rome expelled its last king in 509 BC, was the most sacred event in Roman history. Every Roman child was raised on that story. The king was gone. The people were free. The Senate ruled. And now here was Caesar, wearing a purple robe, the color of kings, sitting on a golden throne in the Senate, accepting divine honors, allowing his face to be stamped on coins while he was still alive, something no Roman had ever done before, reportedly refusing to stand when the Senate entered the room. And then the rumor that he intended to formally declare himself king of Rome. For 60 senators, that was the line. The conspiracy was led by 2 men, Gaius Cassius Longinus, who had a personal grudge against Caesar and made no secret of it, and Marcus Junius Brutus, which is where the story gets complicated. Caesar had pardoned Brutus after the Civil War, given him senior positions, trusted him, groomed him. There is evidence Caesar considered Brutus almost a son, and Brutus genuinely loved the Republic. He was not acting from jealousy or self-interest. He believed, with complete sincerity, that killing Caesar was the only way to save Rome from tyranny. He was wrong about what came next, but his motives were real. Around 60 senators joined the plot. On March 15, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Caesar entered the theater of Pompey, for he had been warned. A soothsayer had told him to beware this day. His wife Calpurnia had a nightmare the night before and begged him not to go. A written note warning of the conspiracy was handed to him on the steps. He never opened it. The attack was swift and chaotic. A senator named Tullius Cimber approached Caesar with a petition and grabbed his toga. The signal. Every conspirator drew a hidden dagger simultaneously. Caesar fought back at first. Ancient sources say he resisted, using his metal stylus as a weapon, but there were too many. 23 stab wounds in total. A Roman physician who later examined the body concluded only 1 wound was fatal. The other 22 were not coordinated, not surgical. They were panicked, frantic, the work of men who had never killed before and were terrified of what they were doing. Caesar pulled his toga over his face as he fell and said nothing. According to both Suetonius and Plutarch, Julius Caesar died in silence. The conspirators called themselves liberators. They expected Rome to celebrate. They had prepared speeches. They planned to carry Caesar's body to the Tiber River and throw it in. None of it went as planned. The Senate fled in panic. The crowd did not cheer. Mark Antony delivered Caesar's eulogy and showed the crowd Caesar's torn, blood-stained toga, inflaming them to fury. The conspirators fled Rome within weeks. Within 3 years, every major conspirator was dead. Brutus and Cassius killed themselves after losing the Battle of Philippi. The Roman Republic, which they had killed Caesar to save, was gone within 15 years, replaced by an empire under Caesar's adopted son Octavian, who became Augustus, the first Roman emperor. The senators who murdered Caesar to prevent one-man rule created the conditions for permanent one-man rule. They didn't save the Republic, they ended it. And the real last words of Julius Caesar? Suetonius says he said nothing, but records suggest that when Caesar saw Brutus among his attackers, he may have said 4 words in Greek: kai su, teknon, you too, child. Not a question of betrayal. Historians believe it may have been a curse, a prediction, as if Caesar, even dying, was telling Brutus, "You will follow me soon." Brutus was dead within 3 years. Hit subscribe. Every week on Lost Ledger, we uncover the stories they buried in your history class. Drop a comment below. Do you think Brutus was a hero or a traitor? See you in the next one.